Okay, this video was shot over 6.5 years ago, almost 7 years ago. I'll start it.
So show me that 23315 West Twilight.
Okay, I had just talked to an officer for about 45 minutes. I had taken him down this tract, the access easement. I showed him my yard. I gave him a 50 minute presentation on how I got screwed through graft and whatever. But as you can see, you watch.
That was the only one available. So, okay.
I see his face is probably on the post office wall. Don't ever take that call.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that redneck, red-hatted, Trump-headed fucking response? If you see his face on the post office wall, don't take that call. These are white, red-blooded Middle West Americans who thinks anybody that's got any kind of an accent, a New York or Eastern accent, they crawled out of a sewer or they're on a public wall. What I am, who I was at that point, was somebody who had bought 3 houses in the Sundance active adult area. Well, we'll go on.
Question.
Yes.
Whose property is the sunken in area?
Common ground.
Common ground.
Absolutely.
Okay. Did you put the stakes in?
Absolutely, I did.
Why did you put them in?
I talked to the clubhouse, and they was going to put them in, and they called me to go back forth Nebraska, because this guy down here keeps driving through here with a golf cart.
Okay, I have to stop here. He's pointing at my house. He's pointing in my direction, and he's telling the cop, the policeman, that every day I'm driving my golf cart over. I don't have a golf cart. I've never had a golf cart. If I would have had an access easement onto the golf course in the very beginning, I would have bought a golf cart. But when I saw the graft that took place, that they closed up the easement, they led me to believe that I was going to have that easement to get on and off the golf course on the day that I bought the house. On the day that I put my signature on those 3 houses. One was one day for one house, the first one, and about 2.5, 3 months later, I bought the other 2 houses. And when they closed, I had purchased 3 houses. So my face is, how many people you see with their face on the post office wall who come in and buy 3 houses? I was Donald Trump at the time.
And he already killed one bush, and then he throws rocks up on the sidewalk.
Okay.
So all it's meant for is no golf carts. And they're supposed to be putting one up. But I come down here and there's rocks all up again. So I thought, well, I'll stop the golf carts.
Okay.
But anybody can walk through there anytime they want. I'm not claiming any ground. But he's such a nutcase that he come down here on my sidewalk and threw all kinds of words at me yesterday. And I said, you better go back home before I call the cops again, because I called them last time.
Okay.
Because he was walking through here, looking in our window, stopping, looking, and he walked.
You want to understand the oxymoron? You want to understand the oxymoron of his statement just now? He says anybody can walk through here anytime they want. Just no golf carts. No golf carts. But anybody at any time. He just made the statement. And then you just heard him say that he was walking down through here. He shouldn't have been walking down here peeking in our windows. Wait a minute. You just said that anybody can walk down through here anytime. That's what I was doing. I was walking on the easement. And they threw me in jail for peeking in people's windows.
Walk again, 4 hours a day he'd do that.
4 hours a day. I did it for a half an hour a day. Ann Lofdahl, their neighbor and caretaker and overseer that watches their house while they're gone, they may be related or they grew up together or intense friends, but she chased me. Ann Lofdahl chased me one end of that easement to the other the whole time I was walking on it. And it wasn't a walking easement. It had been filled in, had big trees in it. This guy is in with the local Bund, okay? He's part of the local Bund, the German-American Bund, okay?
And so I called the cops and I said, I ain't gonna have somebody peeking in my window all the time. So anyway, they come down here and he went like that and touched one of the officers on the chest.
There we go. I never touched an officer. When the officer requested my ID, I said, I don't have it. He said, where is it? I pointed to the house that was about 45, 50 feet away from where I was standing on the threshold in the maximum kill zone for the cameras on the patio. But anyway, let's continue.
And they spun him around, handcuffed him all down there.
I walked under my own. They never spun me around. There was 3 cops with their hands on their gun. This has all been figured out the day before. The reason that patio in the back was filled with people, they were told by either Jackie Meck or somebody in the police department or the HOA told them, we've got a warrant on him. We backdated a warrant on him from 21 months ago. You be out there tomorrow morning when he does it again, and he's going to get arrested. As soon as we get his ID in our hand, we're putting the cuffs on him. And he's a hothead. He's an ex-Marine or a Marine. Make sure you got the cameras, because if he starts to resist as they put the cuffs on him, once they identify him, you'll have a good video. And we'll even have more evidence against him.
Warrant for his arrest. Okay. He beat up a 90-year-old guy that come on his property for a golf ball.
Here we go. I beat up a 90-year-old guy that came onto my property for a golf ball. The guy was 75. I told him before he walked onto my property, I opened my door, I said, do not walk on my property. He waved me off like I didn't even exist. He waved me off like, this is golf course property. You don't own this property, the golf course does. I can walk on it anytime I want to recover my golf ball, and that's what happened.
So he ended up in an orange jumpsuit, ended up in jail for like 7 days.
What's your concern?
4 days. 4 days I was in jail, arrested. I was arrested for missing a court date that I was never served.
And explained to everybody about it and all that crap. So anyway, yesterday he come down here and started throwing shit and telling me I was on welfare and all this other crap. And I said, just go back home, let the HOA take care of it. If they want the safe zone, they can pull them out.
Okay.
You know?
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let him know the same thing. I'm just going to let HOA, because it's HOA grounds.
Absolutely.
I'm going to notify HOA.
Yep.
And let them take it from there.
I agree. I want them to take them out. I want them to put one single post with a little bitty sign, no golf carts.
Mm-hmm.
But I just...
Okay. Do we all know the replacement theory that's going on in this country with white Christian nationals are so feared. They're so feared. They've done statistics. What's the biggest reason that you want to vote for President Trump when they go to the heartland? All right? And they all say we don't want to be replaced. We don't want to be replaced. And he just said, I want a little sign that says no golf carts. No. He wants a little sign that says, you didn't replace us. He wants a little sign that says, invisible on it, that Mr. Lasham, even though you went to jail, even though you martyred yourself, you sacrificed yourself to open up this easement for everybody in parcel 12. I want a sign that said, Mr. LaShawn is not going to replace us. Mr. LaShawn, you didn't replace us. And when I look, it isn't a little itty bitty sign like he requested. All right? And like he said, I talked to the clubhouse, they were going to do it anyway. Of course they were going to do it. And I'll tell you why they were going to do it. Okay?
Just put them in there to stop the golf carts. When I come back here and clean up every time, because this guy down here thinks it's a golf cart.
Yeah.
And I called them and they said, no, it's not. We'll contact them. Well, they didn't.
Well, it's Buckeye Desert, not Buckeye Valley.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I know it ain't mine. Hell, I got plenty of ground. I don't care about it.
Yeah.
But I just don't want them tearing my property up. So.
Terrence, you got your ID in there? Just write down your information so I spoke to you. That'll work.
I got a card and my phone number if you want it. That he just harasses everybody in the neighborhood, so.
See, they're putting it all on to me. Now, what happened was the day I bought the house, the day I put my money down.
What is that phone number?
402.
There was a cart path from the golf.
Can't do nothing because it's common ground.
Yeah, I have to turn it over to HOA and let HOA take care of it.
So I don't know what he's wasting everybody's time.
I will advise him of the situation and let him go from there, okay?
Appreciate it.
All right, have a good day.
Now, what happens is the policeman comes back to me, and you're going to hear so much double talk from this policeman. He is doing everything he can to rationalize what this man did. He's trying to agree with this guy. He wants to agree with him that you can't drive motor vehicles over that access easement. That access easement got stolen fair and square 20 years earlier when they redesigned the golf course. They redesigned the golf course, and that meant that all the drainage onto the golf course from track day had to be eliminated. Now listen to the double talk this guy tries to lay on to me. It's pure what we call semantics. It's wordplay. It's double talk. All right?
He said it's not his property. He said it's common ground, and he said he did put the stakes in there. So that's what's going to reflect in my report. So, and I'll contact HOA.
Did you ask him if he had permission to put it in there?
He said he told HOA if they want it out, they'll have to come take them out themselves. That's what he told me. So I'm going to contact HOA and let them know what's going on.
Did you just hear that? The cop has already got it wrong right from the start. The guy says, I don't own it. All right. What he said was, they said they were putting in a sign. A sign was coming. But he didn't say that they gave me permission. The cop went and talked to him, and 2 seconds later, he's got short-term memory that he didn't say that he had permission. Now the cop comes over and he's trying to double talk me with telling me that he said he had permission. He didn't have permission. What he had was news that someday they're going to put in a sign.
Wait a minute. If he put them in there without authorization, nobody has no authority to put them in there, how come we have to wait until the HOA, which really doesn't want to take them out? They want to work with this guy. He owns them. Like his family right now probably gave Jackie Mack $10,000 during their lives and said, here, we want to keep that for ourselves. Here's your $10,000. Good luck getting reelected. All right?
What he's telling me, and I got to clarify through the HOA, what he's explaining to me is that it's a walking path. It's not a golf cart path.
Okay.
So I have to contact HOA and verify. I saw what you showed me on the paperwork. It says no vehicle traffic.
All right.
So
No, that means motor vehicle. Golf carts are okay.
but if they're licensed, they're considered a motor vehicle.
I don't care.
If they're licensed, they're considered a motor
I
vehicle.
don't care. All right, will you do me a favor? Let me close my place up and follow me over to the next parcel where I can show you on paper where it's exactly described. It's on the same deed. It has the same legal description. Everything is exactly the same. And I want you to go. It's about 400 yards that way, and you're going to see an example that it doesn't even look like this. It doesn't even look like this. How can you have two things on paper be exactly the same? No difference. And when you get to one, you got a cart path there, you're watching golf carts that go up and down it all day. And then here, what we have here,
Well, if they're
now you've defined
golf carts, for the golf course, they're not licensed, so they would be able to drive across that. But if you have one that has,
Do you understand the insanity this guy is trying to lay on me? Half the golf carts on that golf course, most of the time, are licensed golf carts by private owners who live on this golf course. And every private owner and every parcel has his little way of going on to the golf cart. Whether his golf cart is licensed or not, that has nothing to do with this conversation. All right? We have members who have licensed golf carts that openly go on and off the golf course anytime they want to play golf. And this idea that the only place that you can get on and off the golf course, I've had managers. Pat Pence Young sent me a letter about 10 years ago that she was very confident, bold, in my face. There are no golf cart access easement on the golf course. She made the statement, there are none. We don't recognize any. If you want to get on and off the golf course, you have to go to the clubhouse. That's the only place you're going to be able to get on and off the golf course. This is ridiculous. This is double talk. This is what I got to deal with these.
the license plate on it, which is a motorcycle plate, which can be driven on the street, at that time it's considered a motor vehicle.
Okay, now you're really playing the semantic game.
Well, I don't know if that guy that's driving across here, if his golf cart is licensed.
No.
If it's licensed, he can't drive on it, because it says no motor vehicle.
Do you understand how frustrated I was getting with this young man, this young policeman? Probably half my age or more than half my age, early 30s, late 20s. I'm trying to reason with him, and he refuses. He's laying this boogie-woogie legalese on me that makes absolutely no sense. Whether you got a license on your golf cart or not, what that license plate means that you can drive out on the road. All right? And you can drive on any golf course you want that has an access easement with it. He's trying to rationalize and make me see the other person's point. And the best is coming. The best is coming. When you see the fraternal handshake that's coming up, look for the fraternal handshake. Okay? The password. Okay? I want you to look for it. You tell me when it happens. Okay?
Vehicle.
All right, then he can't drive on a golf course, then, right? If he has a licensed vehicle and he shows up to play golf on a golf course,
That's up to the golf course, if they will allow it on the golf course. I don't know if they'll allow it on the golf course.
Okay, you guys have found the sliver. You found the sliver now. So let him.
He's creating contact HOA.
This is a public highway. Wait a minute. You're going to get a hold of the HOA. Not
No, I
today.
am.
They're not there today. Nobody's there.
I'll leave a message for him to contact me back.
They won't.
Okay, to expand on this, why I called the police is Friday afternoon, I went and got a haircut. And as I was driving back from picking up my mail, I came down 233rd. I don't know why, but I decided maybe there was a for sale sign or something. But I came down Lasso, turned right on the 233rd, and as soon as I got to this corner, I saw these two old, rusted, 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch diameter rebar rods stuck in the easement about 35 feet from the sidewalk. I couldn't believe it. Now, I got home, and when I walked in the house, the first thing I did on a Friday afternoon was call up Caroline Clinton. I called her up and I said, somebody has placed rusty rebar rods, and I know who did it because the garage door was open. When this man comes every year, he's a hall monitor for that access easement. He has his garage door open to let everybody in the neighborhood, I'm here now, I'm watching, don't you dare drive your golf cart over that golf cart path. Let's continue.
I leave messages, they don't call me back. You know why? You don't call that a public hazard as a police.
Okay, getting back to my call with Caroline, I told her, I said, Caroline, somebody put those in there. She goes, I'll get right on it. I'll look right into it. Thanks for the call. I'll look right into it. This was Friday afternoon around, I'd say 2 p.m. He had just gotten into town the night before or that morning. And the first thing he did was take 2 rusted rebar. And like he said, I've already talked to the clubhouse. Okay? And the reason the clubhouse told them they want to put a sign there is because of what the golf carts were doing to the threshold at the other end of track day. Every time a golf cart with 2 people in gear went over that threshold, they kept packing it down, packing it down, packing it down. They were destroying the geometry that had been placed there when they filled in the ditch the second time. They put a threshold at the end. And what was happening was every golf cart that went over that threshold for the last 2 years, this was open for 2 years before they put the sign up. For 2 years, every time a golf cart went over that threshold, they packed it down, compressed it, compacted it, compacted it. The threshold that was established when they filled it in was getting lowered. So the water was being let out of Tract A early. Tract A is a vessel. It's not a drainage easement. It's a vessel. It's low in the center and high on the ends. It holds water. It's called underground storage. All right? We've made a pocket for all the water up here, and it won't break out as long as that threshold stays where we established it 2 years ago. We got no worries about water on the golf course. Well, when the golf carts started going over this loosely packed gravel for 2 years, the threshold geometry got destroyed. The water got out early. 3 months earlier, they had one of their monsoon storms. It was like in August or September, and the water got out so bad it created a crevice at the end of the threshold. And everybody in the clubhouse, Charlie Waters on the board, everybody understood that they've destroyed the geometry of our water storage up there. Our underground water storage is not working anymore because the water's getting out early. And the reason it's getting out early is all these golf carts keep packing down the threshold. What we establish as the height of the bowl or the height of the vessel that holds water, it's been destroyed by the golf carts. So we've decided maybe they got together or all in one. These are Lodge brothers, okay? When I realized the graft that took place here, and you got 2 cars here, one's got a Masonic emblem and one's got a Shriner emblem on it. I grew up in a Masonic household. I know what they're all about. It's like growing up in the mafia. When I saw that Shriner and Mason in their front yard and they're parked in their driveway, it didn't take me long to figure out what happened. All right, they used their Lodge brother influence to shut down this HOA. They stole from the rest of us.
At night, do you see a reflector on there? Do you see any code on there? The simple fact that he said he put it in there without permission, and it isn't his property, you should immediately order him and say, I'm going to write this up. I suggest you get him out of there right now. You didn't have permission to put him in there. It's not your property. It's public property. This is a public easement. I just saw it on the map. And if you want to get in the truck with me, if you just give me 2 more minutes to run over to the other parcel, I'll show you what a true access easement looks like. And when they say there's none on the golf course, I'll take you over there and show you one. And if we're lucky enough, we'll see golf carts using it, going up and down. What it is, these people do not want anybody to use. Why do you think that tree there? That tree's illegal. We got a 16-foot wide tract here. 16 feet wide. You remember what it said? No trees or plants inside of the tract? They put that tree there to stop anybody from walking there. They won't trim it. They're hoping that it grows over, and they tried the tree to keep the golf carts out. It ain't working. They've tried the tree to keep the people out. It ain't working. They're not going to trim the tree. And now, nobody's doing anything about him illegally. This was illegal. It was illegal. He did something that wasn't his property. He had no authorization. This is public property. We own it. I own it. I should be able to tell you right now, tell him to pull it out. This is my property. I represent the HOA.
Let me talk to him again.
You see that little spiel I gave? I didn't think I was being malice. I was very frustrated that for the last, up to that point, about 10 or 12 years, I've been denied use of that access easement through graft. Through graft. They stole it fair and square. All right? And we haven't gotten to the way where they changed the passwords yet, but look for the password and fraternal handshake coming up. Look for it.
Yes, sir. Can we remove this right now? Until we can get HOA and...
Do you see how quiet he was? It's almost like he didn't want anybody to hear it. Can you remove him now? Can you remove him now? Right? He knew he had a camera on him, so he's going to be nice with the guy.
Everybody else out here to clarify what it's supposed to be.
I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Okay, let's go ahead and remove it. I'm going to contact HOA, tell them that something needs to be done because...
But if he comes down here again, I ain't gonna promise what's gonna happen.
No, just go inside and call us, please.
Okay, but tell him to stay as that.
Okay, you see this dumb redneck? I don't know what's going to happen. What are you going to do? Blow up on me? You going to come after me, fatso? Okay? The reason I haven't explained why I got fatso on my label for this video. I'm a big cinema person. When I grew up, we had from the time I was about 3 years old, or I could ever remember, I've had a movie theater within the first one we had before they closed it was about less than a half a mile from my house. So I got to see a lot of movies starting at 4 years old. My sister used to take me to the movies with her. And I went to the movies all my life. And then when they closed that theater, the other one was only a few miles away. So everything that was first run, and we saw all first run movies. Okay? And I probably saw From Here to Eternity with Frank Sinatra and Ernest Borgnine and Montgomery Clift when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And I've seen it so many times afterwards. It's got Deborah Carr in it. But Ernest Borgnine's character, they called him Fatso. Fatso. Why did they call him Fatso? He was in charge of the Schofield Barracks Brigs. He was the brig, in charge of the brig at Schofield Barracks. And he thought he was a king. And they had a place in the movie, it was really a brothel, but they cleaned it up, called the New Congress Club. And all the sailors and Marines were wearing flowered Hawaiian shirts. This was supposed to be before Pearl Harbor attack. And Fatso used to go into the New Congress Club, and he'd take over the piano, and he was a terrible piano player. He couldn't play, but because he was in charge of the bridge at Schofield Barracks, nobody would say anything to him. Another crazy movie that I'm adding to one of my videos. But watch it. His name was Fatso. They called him Fatso. Okay, he was the schoolyard bully. Fatso. Okay, that's what I call this guy. He just accused me of hitting a cop or touching a cop, which I didn't. He accused me of throwing rocks on his yard with my golf cart, and I don't own a golf cart. This is truly Fatso. Now look for the fraternal handshake and the password.
That's down there.
I will. I can't tell him not to walk on the sidewalk, but if he comes onto your property, you know, sidewalk's public access. I
But
can't
I don't
tell
need
him.
somebody sitting here throwing words and calling me a welfare case and all this shit. He can stay his ass down.
Yeah.
But I'll gladly pull him out. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get him out. And
Yeah. That way he feels like he won.
Oh, I didn't realize that one.
My son-in-law's a cop. I know all about this crap. But anyway,
where does he work?
Omaha. We're from Nebraska. So he's in Omaha Police Department. He's on SWAT team. So
It's be nice and cold during the winter.
yeah, that's why we got this. We come.
Okay, you're going to see that was the password exchange. My son is on the SWAT team in Omaha. And now you watch this policeman's demeanor once he understands that you're part of the club that I'm in. Law enforcement. You have a son on the SWAT team in Omaha. I'm a cop here. Let's talk. And watch how this policeman, instead of investigating what happened, what took place, all of a sudden becomes a lawyer. He's giving this guy legal advice. He isn't investigating the scene anymore. He's giving this guy legal advice on how to get an injunction against me. And more or less, he's telling that guy, you're right. If he comes down here again, he goes, but like I said, the guy says, this is for people to walk. I was walking on it the morning I got arrested. And he embellished the story. He embellished the story by telling the police that I had been walking there 4 hours a day, that I had beat up a 90-year-old man. Listen to it. Now I want you to listen to this policeman's demeanor. Once he finds out that this guy is in the law enforcement family, the lodge.
Come back and forth. We're just here like a week a month.
Yeah.
So we come down here and get away from it for a little while and stuff. But every time I come down here, it's just like a big pain in the ass.
Well, if it becomes a big issue, you can always get what's called an injunction against harassment.
Well, that's what I wanted to do yesterday. I wanted her to let me call the cops, because when he was down here harassing me, then I could file a restraining order and I'd keep his ass away from me.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that, so now I gotta wait for the next time. So,
Well, you can still do it.
can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I might do that, because I just don't need it, because,
How deep are those?
I only have a little hammer.
Oh, you didn't have a sledgehammer?
Oh, I'm balling, though.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna have to try to get HOA and the city.
You want these?
No, don't antagonize them.
See that?
I'm gonna tell him. All right.
He had me thrown in jail. Okay, now, did you hear that? Because of them, I went to jail for 4 days. I was walking on that easement. It didn't look like it does now. It was all filled in with trees and shrubs. It didn't drain. While I was walking it, I was doing freedom of speech. I had a plat map that said that had to be open for access easement, for drainage, for emergency vehicles, things like that. And what happened is this man, his wife called the police. It's oxymoron. He says this is a walking easement. I was walking it before they dug it out. It had a different status. It wasn't a walking easement when I was walking on it. Pat Pence Young had declared there are no access easement, so we're not going to recognize it as an access easement. And it didn't drain. They made my house where he walked back to, where we were, the policeman and I were standing by his police car, and I was trying to explain to him where we were standing was the new place where water was going to leave the parcel. We were standing, if I would have turned around, we would have been right between my house and lot 317, and that was the lowest place. Years ago, they built it that way. But right now, I wanted to share this with you because I just got served last week. I have to show up in Maricopa County Court. I'm being sued by the HOA. And this is why. This is why. I made this video. They don't like it. They got a fast-talking guy from back east. I lived in Boston. I went to school in the Albany, New York area. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, and I spent 19 years working for United Airlines and 7 years working for America West and US Air. I dealt with regulation. Everything I ever touched on an airplane, I had to sign for it. And when I signed for it, I had to put down what reference. And heaven forbid, if you were a mechanic working out on an airplane and you didn't have the proper paperwork with you when the FAA showed up. If an FAA inspector starts doing spot checks and he goes up to a mechanic and the mechanic's doing this long check that he's done every night for 10 years, he knows it by heart. He don't need paperwork. I've done this check every night. I know what it is, even though it's got 35 steps to it. I've remembered every step. Well, you better hope you have paperwork. I don't care what you think you know. If the FAA inspector comes out and he says you're doing this long test, where's your paperwork? Where's your maintenance manual that tells you step by step how to run this test? And if you don't have one, if you don't have the paperwork, you're in trouble with the HOA. Now, I'm going to make one last statement to the politics, to the German-American boon that's running Sundance Active Adult. You're all together. Everybody that's on that board is a Trump head. This guy's a Trump head. You can tell the way he talked. Ha 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 ha. Do you see his face on the post office wall? That's equal. I talked to a nice little old lady the other day in the neighborhood at the mailbox. I was so upset over Trump telling a guy outside the government he has no government position. And he stopped one of the best border deals that ever came along in the last 30 years. When I said that to her, the sweet little old lady from Nebraska, who is typical of everybody in my neighborhood, when I told her, I said, Trump's a jerk. I said, he's an idiot. I did. I said, he's an idiot. I don't like him. And I don't like living in the Sundance Active Adult because everybody in here is a Trump idiot. All right? And I went off on Trump. Before she left our little conversation and walked into her house, she leaned over very quietly She could have been my mother. All right? Nice, white lady, probably Protestant, small town. You know what she said to me before we parted? She said to me, she goes, you know, Biden's a pedophile. He's a pedophile. I just want to tell you, I'm telling you this story so I can tell you the politics that runs in parcel 12 over here. Everybody's a Trump head. I grew up with him. He's 2 years older than me. I lived in New York going to college when he was a big star in New York making a name for himself. Okay? He's an idiot. And one thing I'm going to say about all you people that did this to me, now I got to get in a car and I got to go to Maricopa County Court. I have to answer charges that are false. The summons has in there that I didn't pay like 6 dues payments. That I refused to pay the fines. That I didn't pay the fines. Over 2 years they've issued fines to me and I haven't paid them. I paid them. I've also paid under protest. And I paid under protest because I never got a hearing. I was kicked out of the HOA 6.5 years ago without a hearing on the basis of one word. Combative. All Caroline Clinton had to put into that letter to me was, you're kicked out of the HOA, your key card's been eliminated because you were combative. That's it. No time, no place, no who, when, how, nothing descriptive. It's just that you're causing trouble for us over there. And this is why I got kicked out of the HOA. I got kicked out of the HOA about a month after this happened. Because about 10 days after this little incident, a sign was put in. They took it out of service. And then they put in rocks at the bottom of the sign because after they put the sign in, one guy up the street who had been using it for 2 years ignored the sign and went by the sign. And when he got challenged by Veskerna says, you can't go here. See the sign? The guy says, I've been going here 2 years in a row. All right? So what happened next? The very next day, they put 3 big boulders in around the sign to stop golf carts. You couldn't go over you had to drive over somebody's yard now to get onto the access easement. But this is the graft that we stole at Fair and Square. This is truly small town. Might as well live in Nebraska or Midwest or Wisconsin with a bunch of bucolic people. All right? They all love Trump. Why? Because they're prime timers. Whatever's on prime time, they watch every night. They don't go any further than the main channel. And when The Apprentice was on, everybody loved Trump. I never realized, but Trump, that was the hottest show on TV before he got elected, was The Apprentice. Everybody loved it. Everybody in the Midwest was sitting there going, I love this guy. He's going to fire everybody. You're fired, you're fired, you're fired. Okay, I've had enough therapy with this. I'm going to put it on YouTube. But I want to let you know, this is some of the history that went down. This was about 7 years ago, over 7 years ago, 6.5, 7 years ago. It was in the end of September, the beginning of October when this event happened. And within 2 weeks, he had his sign that says, you didn't replace us. And let me be a little earnest and honest. See, I'm born October 23rd, 1948. I'm a Scorpio. I can't help it. I was born to fight, okay? I don't like to be pushed around. And what the problem is, the lady did you see how I went after that cop at the end of it, and when he finally made him, I thought I made a pretty good presentation. That's an East Coast presentation. That's somebody that knows civil rights, somebody that knows due process, somebody that grew up on the East Coast. What I'm dealing with is these country bumpkins that are running the HOA and living in my parcel, who are from the Midwest, who I'm talking a little too fast for them. I'm talking a little too fast for them. I'm using words that they don't know, like semantics. When I said you're playing semantics, when he was telling me about the license plate, it's word games. Okay? But thank you. I've had another little therapy. Now, what I have to do, because I was served with a summons, and the first 6 items on the summons are concerned 6 fines that the lawyer said I didn't pay. I spent the whole next day on the phone to my credit union trying to get the canceled checks, and I got all but 4. And 2 of them, because even though I write a check out longhand and I write across the check, paid in protest, that check never gets back to my bank and it never gets back to me. And what the beautiful thing is when they see on my check that I send in to them that it's paid under protest, they don't like that. It's paid under protest because I didn't get a hearing. You're supposed to get a hearing before they fine you. Well, I put paid under protest, and when they get that check, they go, we can get rid of this paid under protest. It can go away. We'll process it electronically. We'll take a picture of it, or we'll put the numbers in the system electronically, and we'll throw the check away. And that's why out of the 6 checks, out of the 6 dues that they say I owe, 4 of the checks I found. So the lawyer letter, the summons, I'm going to dispute it because all 6 charges for all 6 fines are false charges. But my problem is 2 of the checks that I sent in were cashed electronically by Sundance. They cashed it electronically and threw the check away. It never made it back to my credit union. So I've got 4 out of the 6 charges that I didn't pay. I've got the checks to back it up. And like I said, thank you for the therapy. This is such a distraction. Now, I got to call and get a lawyer to answer these charges. I got to show up in court within 20 days to answer the charges. And I want to share an experience that I had. I got the Buckeye, and within 2 years of Buckeye, 2 or 3 years of being here, I got the letter for jury duty. So I complied. I did everything an American citizen would do. I did everything right. I showed up, and guess what? Who gets picked out of about 150 people in that room, or 80 people, whatever, to select from? Who gets picked for jury duty? Me. You know what that meant? That meant like 10 days or 2 weeks, at least 9 or 10 days that I had to get up in the morning and fight rush hour traffic to get to the court in Maricopa County. And some mornings they cancel it. So you get all dressed up, you get in your suit, or you put into decent clothes, and you get to court, and you're there on time, you're sitting in the juror's room, and they go home. We're not going to have court today. That happened 1 or 2 times. I almost got killed, T-boned, down there by the Maricopa County Courthouse. there was so much construction at the time that there was no real way to get west. When you came out of that parking garage near the courthouse, everything was set up to go east. And to go west, it made it really hard. So they had this temporary lot set up where you could drive over this empty lot to get to a portal. You could get to the freeway and start heading west. Well, when I pulled out, I was frustrated, didn't know where I was. I really am not familiar with that downtown area. When I pulled off that lot, I got so close to getting T-boned. And this went on the whole time. So that I want to tell you, expect when you buy into one of these places, they're not going to make the locals deal with that jury duty. You're an outsider. You're not one of us. You're going to do that. You're going to have jury duty. We're not going to put our local people we like through it. And these snowbirds the snowbirds aren't going to be on jury duty. You're a full-time permanent resident in our community. You're going to jury duty. I almost got killed downtown Phoenix because they had it so confused down there. And this is Arizona. All right, we're not back east. This is what we call shortcuts. Everything's a shortcut. Everything's done just enough to be legal. Thank you for listening.